Welcome back to Balance Redefined Radio. I'm Connie Sokol, your host, and we are doing part 2 of talking with Ingrid Sorensen, who is a mother of 9. And I can tell you, she's a happy mother of 9. And guess what? You don't hate her for it. She's amazing and real and down to earth. She is like my dear Abby, where she just helps you feel great about who you are and what you're doing and learning as you go how to make this all work and flow. Ingrid, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's so fun. We just talked about back to school tips. So if you didn't get a chance to listen, please go listen. I'm actually excited for back to school, and that is not an oft field that I have. So I'm really excited for it. This time in this episode, we're going to talk about mom tips, creating those mom tips for mom sanity so that we feel like we can run a smooth, generally speaking, I'm a B pluser. So generally a smooth home, we've got some predictable routines and we're feeling filled as a mom. We're taking care of ourselves and taking care of the things that need to be done. And we know generally how to work that so that we're not feeling we're just out of control on a daily basis. So let's just jump right in. What are some of the top things that you see when you're talking with moms? Now, I should mention, can't believe I didn't mention this. She was American Mother of the Year, okay? And sometimes women can start feeling a little less than with that. But let me tell you, what makes her so Mother of the Year-ish is that she does these real life things of, it all went to chaos. And so I had to figure this out. And she figures out solutions. So you get to talk to a lot of different moms. You're a learner all the time and in different groups and listening to podcasts and talking with a lot of different women. What are some of the stress points that they have in their lives as you're talking to them? What are some of the things that you're saying, you're not the only one that feels that way, that's something that's difficult to deal with in this motherhood realm?
Oh, I think there's such a huge variety of challenges that moms face, but it seems like we can maybe kind of categorize them a little bit like, household chaos, the household work, the homemaking work that needs to be done. A lot of moms are responsible for the majority of the cleaning, the majority of the cooking, the majority of caring for the children, and running the school schedule, running the carpools and gymnastics and violin and whatever kids are doing. And that can wear a mom down. So I think, the household needs, the children needs as far as logistical, getting kids where they need to be and making sure they're fed and happy and hairbrushed and emotionally stable, no pressure. And
I'm reaching for a candy bar right now. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Right. And, and then feeling like we're good enough. Like, am I doing okay at this mom thing or whatever? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like a failure, if depending on which pair of glasses I put on, I could see myself as a failure every single day. Because obviously we fall short on stuff all the time. That's the nature of humanity. But there's also that like beauty and gratitude pair of glasses that says, oh, look at this sweet thing. Look at my little kids playing nicely together. Look at how the big one tied the little one's shoes. Or, hey, everybody got in the car and we made it to this thing on time. Go us, way to go. It's kind of how you see things, and that does involve a degree of serenity that needs to be in the mom's mind, right? She needs to have a little bit of peace and a little bit of consistency and a little bit of resilience, which is not easy to achieve as a mom always. I mean, it can be easy, but it can seem impossible. So I think we could talk a little bit about that, of how to just make sure that mom is centered like the eye of the storm, right? That she's the calm hub and the chaos can swirl around her, but she's just there, just managing it and doing okay. And I love your idea of the B plus, because that has changed my life, because I tend to be an all or nothing person. Like, oh, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. I'm going to exercise today. And then I sleep through my alarm and I push snooze 8 times and I didn't get up. And then I just throw in the towel and go, well, I'll try again next month or next year. And I toss it out. And I think I could do, I've learned a lot from that B plus. Like, no, it's okay. You didn't get up at 6 to go exercise? Get up at 7 and exercise. Or exercise at 10 or at noon or when the kids go to bed later tonight. Yay, you win.
Perfect. And I love starting out with that. That is, we as moms getting centered and being clear about our expectations. In order to have sanity, we're going to have to be clear that we are not going to have it knock out of the park every day, not by any stretch. But I remember a celebrity saying, if the kids are alive when my husband gets home, I've done my job. And I thought, new expectation. Okay. Puts it into perspective. Okay. So I agree. Starting out with those realistic expectations of saying on a given day, I know that I talk to people about having a priority 3 or a priority 5, where you say, okay, these 3 things really have to be done today. And the rest is just going to be the swirling chaos that happens every day. And if we get to it, we get to it. Great. But these things really will make me feel peace. I can put my head in the pillow at night. And I know we're going to talk a little bit later about self-care. So I love that we start with this rounded feeling as much as possible, starting out. And I know some people they do morning routines. They do a 5-minute, they just kind of do abundance meditation or a prayer and say, okay, I'm going to start with this clear place. I know Linda Iyer talks about where she'd go to the sink and she'd look in the mirror and she'd be like, okay, I know what's waiting for me out there. She had 9 kids also, right? And just saying, okay, I'm going to get my game face on and I'm good. And taking that 5 minutes of just, okay, partnering with the divine. We got this. Let's go. So some of those things that women are going to face, and I love how you talked and kind of broke that down into the homemaking part, then the children part, the logistical and the emotional, and then the woman part, that the mom, we're still a woman, even as a mother. So let's start with some of those logistical things with the household. Laundry, okay, the bane of our existence. I remember one lady saying to me, yeah, laundry's my worst thing because it's never ever done. And I thought, well, it gets done. I have a clear counter. She's like, no, you are wearing clothes. So it is never, ever done. And I so was depressed. I went, I never thought about it that way. So what can we do to conquer this laundry? Because it's part of life forever.
It sure is. And I have never thought about that the laundry's not done because you're wearing clothes. Yikes. I have been known to take a photo of my laundry baskets and bins when they are empty. And I say, woohoo, I got everything washed, dried, folded, and put away all at once. And the baskets are empty. And I know they're only going to stay that way until somebody takes clothes off, which is going to be that same day. But I have been known to put a photo of that on my Instagram and go, look at my success. It does happen sometimes. I see laundry as there's 2 different approaches to conquering laundry. One is like the load a day kind of a thing. And a lot of women like that method because you feel like it's never going to get out of control if you're constantly on it, right? Dishes are the same way. Like it's just kind of a maintenance mode, right? Or painting the Golden Gate Bridge or something, they paint it. It's always being painted. They start at one end and they paint. And by the time they get to the other end, it's been a year and the front end needs to get started on again. So that is one method of laundry. Like just do a little bit every day and stay on top of it. And if that's your approach, I would suggest sort as you take clothes off, like have one of those bins that has the multiple sections so you can throw in whites or colors or delicates or whatever, so that when you go to do a load a day, it's already sorted and you grab that and throw it in. You take whichever bin is the fullest, or if you have, I wash towels on Monday and jeans on Tuesday and t-shirts on Wednesday, something like that, so that your load a day doesn't end up getting the best of you because some things are being neglected all the time. So that's a like a chip away at it, constantly maintain approach. My favorite approach, which won't be everybody's, but is to just do it all in one day and be done. I didn't like the feeling of I'm constantly doing laundry every single day. I felt like that was like wearing on me. I thought these are inanimate piles of fabric. I cannot let them get the best of me. So
you will not win.
I'm going to do a 1 day a week, do it all and get it done. And I would start sometimes the night before, sort everything, multiple piles on my bedroom floor, 12 piles. And just every 45 minutes, take another load down, rotate it through, fold it, put away. I remember folding clothes with my little children crawling around and they were undoing the piles faster than I could stack them up. And I said to myself then and there, I will never fold laundry when the children are awake ever again. And for a long time, I didn't. I would save the piles until they were in bed and then I could watch a show and fold. And it was a little bit of a peaceful moment for me. But that's my current approach, is do it all in 1 day and get it done. That was insane amount of work, but I would try to stay home, never book appointments or a lunch date or anything on that date. My focus was just drill through that laundry and teach your kids to do their own. It's not hard with the amazing fabrics that we have nowadays. My 7-year-old does his own laundry. Everything is thrown into one load. He has socks that are dark colors, underwear that's dark colors, and he wears dark colored t-shirts and cotton pants. it all goes in one load. And the 7-year-old clothes are small and they fit. So he's got his own basket there by his dresser. He takes off his clothes, puts them in the basket. Once a week, I walk down with him. I help him a little tiny bit, just getting the right buttons pushed and not too much detergent. But I've also, guess what? A list by the washing machine with the instructions, the little bullet points so my kids can follow it down. And they each have an assigned day. So somebody's day is Monday, somebody's day is Tuesday. And it's only when they're a teenager that it's more than one load worth of clothes. But little kids' clothes all fit in one load during the week. So.
Oh, I love that. Now, what do you do when they miss the day? What do you do? Because I know that that's an issue.
Say that again, sorry.
What happens when they miss their laundry day?
I usually bug them enough that they don't miss it, because if they miss it, it like domino affects everybody else's laundry days, and that doesn't work. If I know they can go a couple days, I'll let them scooch in somewhere when somebody else is finished. Like I said, most of the kids are only doing 1 or 2 loads. So there's plenty of other time in the day to put another load in. You know, it was my day that had 12 loads back when most of the kids were small. But I tried to start them at about age 8 on doing their own. And it takes a couple months of just tutoring and holding their hand and walking through it, but they learn it. So I generally try to just bug them enough that they don't miss a day. Hey, Mom, can I have, a dish of ice cream after dinner? Did you ever get your laundry done? No. Get it going. Then maybe yes.
I love this idea. And you had talked about this in the last episode of this privilege. I call it privilege driven, where you say that as soon as you get that done, you're welcome to have that. And teaching them that there is a cause and effect, that if they can do this, then they get that. And they don't get the thing before they do the thing that, it actually makes that happen. So I love this idea of there's different ways to do it. I know for our family, we have done laundry so many different ways. We used to have, we called it the 3-hour tour, and we'd sit all in the room and I would wash because I'm home. So I would wash it and then we'd sit down and then everybody would help fold. And then we'd match socks. Oh, matching socks was like, that actually became a timeout thing. If you were in a timeout, then you would match socks. So people are like, oh, don't make me match socks. Or it became an earning thing where we had so many socks, I'd do a dime a pair, a properly matched pair. Because I learned quickly that if you just say a matched pair, you don't know what you're going to get. Quality control, people. So, but then we do it for 3 hours and then we try different ways. And now because I'm home, I don't have a problem throwing and wash, but they have to fold it and take it. And there'd be times I would fold it and then they just shove it in their basket and then their drawer, and it didn't even look folded anymore. So that's when I went, I'm done folding because you don't care. So anyway, I love this freedom of being able to, again, we talked about family council. You decide as a mom what's going to work best for you. And then if there's other things to be able to take care of with the kids, say, okay, kids, how do we want to do this? And that's actually how we found our best way to do laundry. We did kind of a hybrid of it. I asked them, I said, I am so done with this whole laundry debacle. What can we do? How can we make this work? And we use that same method today that they came up with. So I love this idea of constantly, whatever this might be, get the family buy-in, get the family council and figure that out together. So I love that. So, okay, we're going to move from laundry for a second, unless you have anything else on that. We're going to move from laundry and we're going to go kind of segue into that larger picture of family chores. You've got the projects, you've got yard work, you've got cleaning, you've got all of those things. How can we more easily tackle chores without, what I hear from women all the time is, I cannot do one more intense, complicated chore chart, okay, that has like a 3-point plan on the back end that they've got to study and enact. So what's a good and some simple tips that you've got for chores?
I hear you on the complicated chore chart. And I think that alone can stall us out on making any progress or having any routine that rolls forward with some degree of consistency and success, right? I think that if we overcomplicate it, like cute drawings and laminated stuff and clip art has stopped me from making a good working chore chart many, many times. So I really do right now currently have my chore charts on those little yellow notepads that are like a mini legal pad that you can buy a 24-pack at Costco for like $5. That is my favorite thing. And I use them for everything. And right now that's what the chore charts are written on. And even in the first month of summer in June, I had the chores rotating on a weekly basis between my 4 like at home, actively involved on the chore chart age children right now. And I couldn't keep track of whose chore was what. So when I saw the undone dishes or the unfed pets, I didn't even know who to ask. I had to go to the chore chart and look at it. Whose job is it to feed the pets? And all 4 kids, I don't know. I'm like, well, no wonder it's not done. It was too complicated. So I said, okay, starting July, you stay on the same chore for a month. Because then I can keep track. Oh, the pets aren't fed. That's the 10-year-old's job. Oh, the dishes aren't loaded. That was the 12-year-old's job. And it's easy for me to keep track of, so then I know who to bug. And they don't keep forgetting. They're like, okay, I'm on dishes every morning this month. And it gives them a chance to get good at it, which is nice.
That is a beautiful concept because, again, you know, I'm big on habits, and that when we have them do something, if we can lead them to creating a habit, then all they have to do is change out the exact thing. So when they get older, they go to an apartment, the only thing they change out is the location or the time, but they have that habit of, oh, I know that I need to do dishes daily, right? So I love that idea. We've done our chores where we do it for 2 weeks and then they switch out and they rotate. But I hadn't considered the blessing of doing that for 30 days because I know it's 27 days to break a habit. But, you know, depending on research that you read, you can get a whole spectrum. They say it's about 60 to start a new one. But when you've done for 30 days, you've been able to create that kind of a pathway. How powerful is that? And harder for you to lose that? And how much easier when you get back to that. Now you're just switching out the next month, you're switching it with feeding the dog. So you're still creating that habit of daily dues. So that's really powerful. I love that. And I love the idea that you said, don't make it all fancy and Pinteresty if that's not your thing. I know my younger kids, we even did a dino store. We got a refrigerator box and cut out windows. We got dollar store toys, and I made dino dollars, and they would earn it during the week and then they could cash it in at the end of the week and stuff. And how long do you think that lasted, right? It was a few months. My younger one now, my 7th one, I laugh. It's a sticky note with a little box next to it. And I go, hey, awesome. How'd you do this morning? Okay, do the big check. And he gets all excited about doing a big check. I'm like, okay, it still works. So, yeah. You know, the point is just have a system, right?
Yeah, I think that there also is like phases of motherhood and phases of family life where, you know, when you have maybe 3 little kids and your lifestyle is different than a mom who's got teenagers and little kids, there may be more time for, I don't know if it's time or if it's energy or what, but I was way into making cute chore charts when my kids were little, and it's less so now. And I think that's just kind of a natural progression of motherhood. And go with that. You know, if there's a natural energy that's associated with different times in your life or different cycles in your family, summer and school year, or just little kids or just teenagers. I know when I have just teenagers and no more small children, there will be a new, you know, energy and a new vibe in the family, and we'll do things differently. There may not be a chore chart. Who knows what things will look like? Another thing I've had success with again, the little yellow notepads is just writing down what needs to be done. I look around the house and I go, dang, this is a disaster. Where is everybody? I need some help. And I'll just write down, you know, the floors need to be swept and mopped. This trash can's overflowing or whatever. And I just make a little punch list on there. And then I get on the family group text and I say, there's a chore sign up on the kitchen table. First one here gets the best job. And they all come running. I mean, they're elbowing each other and starting fights on the way in. And they're signing up for jobs. I'll do the floors, I'll do the trash, I'll do the bathroom, whatever, you know. And I do it for a Sunday dinner prep, right? Like everybody's expected to help. So I need somebody to make the salad and somebody to set the table and somebody to do the drinks and whatever. And I just make the little punch list and I'll just yell throughout the house or get on the family group text. I got some younger kids who aren't on there yet, but you know, chore sign up, and they come running. And if they didn't hear me or they're slacking and not getting off their duff, they get the lame job that nobody wants, the last one left. And that's fine with me. And they learn, you know, jump in sooner. We have, you know, other times where we just all work together. I'll see the house needs a once over or whatever. And I'll just say, hey, we're cranking on some music, setting a timer for 5 minutes. And I don't work so much as direct, but I'll just say, you sweep, you take out the trash, you pick up those items, you run this to where it goes, you wipe up that. 5 minutes, bing, we move to the next room. In 30 minutes, you can get a pretty good dent made in the house with just punching out what's the most desperate things and working teamwork and make it fun with the loud music.
Oh, I so appreciate that you added that in. I wrote that down. You are the director more than you're doing. And I think that's fabulous because you're going around, you're kind of encouraging them. You're kind of being the rocky coach in the corner, right? Doing their arms, shoulders. You can do this. You got this, right? And I love that you said put on music and a timer. That means they know it's not going to be endless and eternal. They know it's going to have an ending and they can do anything for 10 minutes at a time or whatever. And then the music to make it fun. I know that's some of my most favorite memories is even if it's some of their music, I'm like, what is this song? You know, we just kind of have to all embrace it and go with it. So I love that you create this energy about it, which is it takes a family to raise a family. So everybody, all hands on deck, and then we're done. Let's do this. Let's go. Because that's a life principle. They're going to get in groups where they have to do projects together at school or at work. They're going to have to learn how to pull their weight and how to work with other people. So what great, you're just teaching them all kinds of life skills, again, with this concept, this lens, choose your lens of, it isn't just, let's just, you know, check it off and get it done and move on. This is actually, these are vehicles for us to teach our children these life skills that they're going to transfer into bigger ways at work or with their future families or things like that. Absolutely love that. So just kind of as we wrap up a little bit here, let's talk about self-care and traditions with our children. So first, it's self-care for women. This is probably one of the most neglected things for mom, even though we literally have, with 7 kids, I say I have like 7 IVs stuck into me every single day, and they are just drawing, you know, my energy, my blood, and in a beautiful way. I love them fiercely, but we don't recognize how quickly we can be drained and how effective and how vital it is for us to stay with that rejuvenation, that recharge. So what's some things you found that have helped you? It's hard with 9 kids to find that time for self-care. How do you do this?
It definitely can be hard. And the hardest things are like the most important and worth it, right? Like those most important things are going to be hard. Sometimes it's that escape to the grocery store at 10 p.m. with no kids. And you're like, ah, and you just wander up and down the aisles with this zone out look on your face. I've done that. And, you know, and sometimes that has to suffice, and that's okay. But if you can get a little higher quality self-care time than that, that is also great. I remember there was a time period where I had a hired college girl coming in to help me a little bit when we had a ton of kids at home and lots of them were still really little. And thankfully we were able to afford to get a little bit of paid help. And I would have her come on Friday mornings for 3 hours, and she had my little toddlers at home, and I would like grocery shop and run all the errands and get so much done in 3 hours. And it was you, Connie, that said to me, you have 3 hours of paid help and you are grocery shopping? Are you kidding me? You can't grocery shop with kids another time. Use that time to fill your soul. And I was like, oh, fill my soul. That's a good idea. So instead, I started taking my novel to this little cafe near my house, and I would get a fresh squeezed orange juice and a scrambled egg, and I would take an hour to eat it, reading my novel by myself. It was the most blissful thing ever. And then maybe I would run some errands or something, but let me tell you, it was a game changer, game changer. I was like, oh, I am wasting that money paying this girl to help me, and I'm just still running like a frazzled crazy woman. I needed that, like, slow down, take a breath. And it was a recharge. You got to find, all moms, I would say, this is something I did not do when I had little kids, and I should have done, because I did feel like I really lost myself completely for a little while, where there was like, who is Ingrid? I don't know who she is. There's this mom who runs this household, but I don't know who Ingrid is. Find what makes you feel alive inside, what just makes you just jump up and pump your fist in the air and say, yes, what is that? And find a way to do that on a regular basis. If it's only once a month, make it happen, but be regular, because it gives you something to look forward to, and you know you've got that little recharge coming. If that's like a walk in nature, or sitting at the library reading a book, or connecting with friends over lunch, going for a run, knitting something, I don't know, it could be anything, right? Like whatever that is, but it's got to be something that in your soul is your deepest happiest, most joyful, find that thing. And if it's just an hour a month, if that's all you can do it. If you can do it more regular every week, awesome. But you've got to refill that well. It's like you said the 7 IVs. I've heard it described as like a cup with 7 straws coming out of it, and all the children are drinking. How fast is that cup going to get drained? So fast. I also just heard the other day, someone pointed out that Rachel Hollis said this. She said a mom is like a vase, and she might get filled up, but she gets tipped over and it drains out. And sometimes she gets tipped over and it all drains out before it even got full. And then it's just empty all the time. She said, but imagine if it's standing straight up. And I'm quoting somebody who was quoting her, so it may be a big jumbled mess, and I apologize. But she said, imagine if that vase is standing up and has some kind of fountain rolling into it always. So it's perpetually full and perpetually overflowing. Would that be a great place to be as a woman who's a mother, like perpetually full and perpetually spilling out? That's, I think, where we got to find for self-care. And like I said, I know it's not easy to find that time because we're busy. We're taking care of these precious children. It's a huge, important role, and we throw our heart and soul into it as we should. But we've got to find how to keep that vessel full. Otherwise, we are empty. And if you've been there, you know it's a lousy place to be.
Oh, and you bring up such beautiful points. And this regularity means that you can get filled quicker, because when you're all the way down to 0, it takes so much more to bring you back up to normal. Whereas just like with gas, it's 2 seconds to top it off, top it off, top it off, and you're on your way. But if you're totally drained and the oil's out and maybe you cracked your engine or whatever, that makes such a difference, because everything just starts breaking down when you don't have that regular maintenance. I love it. To me, it's that find your golden hour. And what you're saying to me is that what you love, that not just that productive, like women I talk to, they say, yeah, I cleaned out my purse, in their golden hour. No productivity. So I so appreciate that you're sharing something that fills your soul, that just sparks that part of who you are. As a mother, you're exactly right. We are a woman, wife, and mother. And we were a woman before we became a mom. And so not shelving that part. I know just the other night, fiction for me, writing fiction, I do all nonfiction, but dabbling in fiction, I love. It's like my little happy therapy place. It's so fun. I'll be typing along. I'll be laughing out loud at these characters bantering. I'm thinking, am I insane? On the edge of, right? But the other night I thought, I just want to write. And I had the opportunity, but there was all these productive things that I could do and needed to do. And I thought, I'm just empty. And I'd realized, I talked to my 16-year-old, and she, out of the mouths of babes, was the one. I said, I'm feeling kind of like I don't have joy, and I love my life, but I can't feel this joy. And she said, Mom, it sounds like you're overworked. You really need to take some time off. Just like do something fun, just for fun. So I wrote, and literally in like 2.5 hours, I wrote about 4,500 words. Now, to put that in context, there are actual writers or national New York Times bestselling writers that they do 500 to 1,000 a day. So you can imagine in 2.5 hours, I was in this happy place, and I kind of emerged from that with this joy, this effervescence that just stayed with me, because I tapped in to that creative, joyful place. Cannot emphasize that enough. You're so spot on. Finding that time, carving that out weekly if possible, daily if you can, 15 minutes, whatever that could be for you, reading a book. But so vital. And you become a happier mom. Did you feel like your kids noticed a difference?
Oh, absolutely. And my husband did. It was great. It was great. And it made me happy to be a mom. Like, I did one time like a 2-day getaway. My husband was out of town and I was already feeling depleted. And I hired this college girl again. They're so great. And just said, hey, she didn't even stay overnight. She just came like 9 to 5, 2 days in a row. And I used one of those days for crazy productivity and the next day for like kind of zoning out, I took a blanket to the park and threw it down and read a book in the sunshine and fell asleep. And I mean, it was divine. But I came home like just excited to see my kids and happy about my role, and just filled completely, like you said, all the way, and yeah, they notice it. Then I'm happy to engage with them more instead of stop bugging me. So
yes. and that irritability. And I tell women, as soon as you start feeling that consistent irritability, I mean, we have that sort of on a low grade just because people are pulling from us, right? But when you can feel that sort of, I'm popping off at nothing, then you know that self-care meter is super low and you got to do something before those kids are being like, I don't even want to be around mom. And they're all like, you know, even though they still need and want you, but you want those connections. Oh, I just love what you have shared. And I think we're going to need to have you back to talk more about the traditions with children and connection with children, because that's a whole juicy thing that I want to dive into. And you are just fantastic with the things you've shared. Again, love to do these little mini wrap-ups just so that people who have kind of come in at the end want you to be able to remember what we've talked about or go back and re-listen. But talking about these things of mom tips to sanity, I love that you've broken that down into household and homemaking, into children, logistical and emotional. And then as a woman, being a woman still and validating what you do and being able to feel that, find your golden hour and dig into that deep well of whatever joy, creativity, whatever that is for you. And then being able to celebrate the small wins, whatever it is that your kids are doing and that you're doing with them, you're celebrating those small wins. You find your refuge. You use logistical life hacks, like for laundry, doing a pre-sorting tub that has sections so you can just throw it in. It's already pre-sorted for you no matter which way you go about it. And then acknowledging that your seasons of motherhood are going to shift, and that's okay. Some kids will get the cute sticky charts and things like that, and others will get a little Post-it note. And that's okay, because everybody gets perks that don't go with their own stage of life. And they get some perks and they get some of those other sides, and it all works out in the wash. I love this. And then embrace the phase. Just embrace what phase you're in and be able to go with that, making the adjustments that needed without feeling less than. Being able to recognize this role is as deep as it is wide. And it's beautiful for us to take our own fingerprint and our own personality on it and be able to say, these are the needs that I have. So how can we go about filling them, and do it for yourself and as a family, because it takes a family to raise a family. Ingrid, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there any last thing, as mom wanting to stay sane and love her role as a mom, is there any last thing that you would want to share with women who are listening?
I would just say that kind of just what I said before, find that thing that makes you go, yes, you know, deep down in your heart, and make sure to nurture that with a little bit of time, because that will help you be your best self, which then you bring that to the role of motherhood.
Oh, love. I feel so energized. I'm literally going to go down and hug my sweet 16-year-old, and she's going to just love that. But thank you so much for sharing with us today. And if you've loved this, again, listen to the part 1 that we had on back to school shopping tips, or the other podcasts that are at your fingertips. Subscribe below. As always, if you want more newsletters, books, schedule speaking, whatever, ConnieSokol.com. And remember, make this year your year to get balance redefined.